This is a world with a historical and cultural gap, where the masses yearn for historical and cultural heritage, and various tomb-raiding novels fabricated out of thin air are very popular. Finally, with the unremitting efforts of the official, we have found the legendary exquisite ancient city and started live streaming. However, the Jingjue Ancient City was extremely dangerous, and the archaeological team suffered heavy casualties. In the end, under the guidance of a mysterious person, they finally captured the Jingjue Ancient City. Everyone is speculating who the mysterious person is, but the official has invited him to join the archaeological team. When everyone saw clearly the mysterious person's face and the Qilin tattoo on his body, the whole internet was boiling. Why does he look so much like someone? He can't be a descendant of the Kirin clan, can he? Is there a possibility that he is Zhang Qilin? I lost it. The person guiding the archaeological team turned out to be the head of the Zhang family. Keywords of the novel. Let you guide the archaeological team. As a member of the Zhang family, there is no pop-up window. Let you guide the archaeological team. As a member of the Zhang family, you can download the complete TXT collection. Let you guide the archaeological team. As a member of the Zhang family, you can read the latest chapters. If only Zhang Qilin were here in Chapter 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. If only Zhang Qilin were here in Chapter 1, brother. Brother. The archaeological team has started live streaming again. Look at it. In the afternoon, as soon as Zhang Lin woke up, he heard his sister Qin Yuzhu's slightly cheerful voice. Then, a lively and tall girl pushed open Zhang Lin's room and ran to his side with a laptop, her face full of excitement. This girl has big eyebrows and big eyes, wears a high ponytail, wears a large T-shirt, covers her ultra-short jeans, and has long, white, and straight legs. Zhang Lin looked at it and said helplessly, I said Qin Yuzhu, you don't have clothes, do you? Why do you wear my T-shirt every day? The girl in front of me is named Qin Yuzhu. It's Zhang Lin's half-sister. After he traveled to this world, his father just married Qin Yuzhu's mother. Shortly after, the couple had a car accident, leaving only Zhang Lin and Qin Yuzhu to rely on each other. Fortunately, Zhang Lin has been a person of 2 generations and was also a computer expert in his previous life. With advanced computer technology, Zhang Lin, who is in his teens, can easily support himself and Qin Yuzhu. A few years have passed, and now Zhang Lin is 20.2 years old. Qin Yuzhu has also become a graceful young girl, and her relationship with Zhang Lin is like that of a biological brother and sister. I don't know where this girl went crazy. When she applied for college, she actually chose to major in archaeology. Although archaeology is very popular in this world, there is no need to worry about employment issues. But a girl going to archaeology. Zhang Lin can't figure it out. Brother. Don't be so stingy. If you like it, you can also wear my clothes. Qin Yuzhu smiled and said. Zhang Lin shook his head somewhat helplessly. This girl is always so shameless and restless. He glanced at the live broadcast on his laptop and said, have they not found the exquisite ancient city yet? The archaeological live broadcast that Qin Yuzhu is following is actually an official archaeological activity. Due to certain war reasons, historical and cultural gaps, the archaeological industry in the Xia kingdom of this world has developed unprecedentedly. The country strongly supports the archaeological industry. Not long ago, the archaeological team discovered some traces of the exquisite ancient country and made a bold decision. That is the first archaeological live broadcast targeting the entire network. Encourage all the people to care about the archaeological cause, so that everyone can witness the revival of Xia's dusty history and enhance national pride. Result. When the archaeological team arrived at the outskirts of Jingjue Ancient Country, they encountered danger. Even with the protection of Special Forces soldiers, they sacrificed a lot of staff. As a last resort, the archaeological team can only temporarily suspend entry into the Jingjue Ancient City and interrupt the live broadcast. And now, after a week, the archaeological team has once again started live streaming. As soon as this live broadcast started, Yuzhu noticed it. Then came the scene just now. Yuzhu said with some concern, "Yeah. The exquisite ancient city is too mysterious and dangerous. I hope Professor Chen and his team can go smoothly this time." After a pause, Yuzhu said again, "If only they had Zhang Qilin's help." Zhang Qilin is somewhat speechless. Zhang Qilin. A very loud name. Not real people, but popular characters in a tomb raiding novel. With a ceiling-level combat power and explosive abilities, there is no tomb that he cannot descend from. In this world, although history and culture are fragmented. However, tomb raiding novels are exceptionally popular, and under the powerful imagination of many online authors, various types of tomb raiding novels emerge one after another. Several of these novels can almost be said to be household names. Zhang Qilin is the top popular protagonist in tomb raiding novels. Countless people are his fans. Yuzhu is no exception. Of course, Zhang Qilin also read these tomb raiding novels. He found that although these tomb raiding novels were also written very well, there was still a gap between them and the tomb raiding novels he had read in his previous life. The biggest difference among them is the tomb raiding technique. The tomb raiding methods in the novels of previous lives are almost entirely based on real evidence, with various methods, mechanisms, and customs being very authentic. And all the tomb raiding novels in this world are fabricated out of thin air. There is no factual basis. Instead, it's more like a martial arts or fantasy novel. Even using black donkey's hooves to deal with Zongzi is impossible. Zhang Qilin said, "It's just a fictional character, how could it possibly appear in real life?" Yuzhu clenched his small fist and said, "Who said that? After I graduate, I will use my archaeological knowledge to go to Changbai Mountain to find him." Without hesitation, Zhang Qilin raised his hand and flicked Yuzhu's forehead, saying, "Go to class well." Ah! How painful! Stinky brother! Yuzhu covered his forehead and angrily snorted, "Every day you know you're bullying me." After speaking, she left angrily. However, what Yuzhu didn't notice was that Zhang Lin's fingers on her forehead were surprisingly long. Ding! The fusion of the two-finger exploration hole is complete. The divine-level guidance system has been fully activated. Guide the archaeological team to search for the exquisite ancient city and reward Kirin blood. At this moment, a mechanical and cold electronic synthesis sound echoed in Zhang Lin's mind. Upon hearing this voice, Zhang Lin's eyes showed a hint of joy, but apart from that, there was not much change in his expression. This divine-level guidance system was obtained by Zhang Qilin 10 days ago. When the system woke up, it rewarded the double-finger hole exploration skill. However, the fusion time of the system is relatively long, and it was not until just now that it was fully activated. Guide the archaeological team to search for the exquisite ancient city and reward Kirin blood. Zhang Qilin frowned and took out his phone to find the live broadcast room of the archaeological team. The tomb raiding novels in this world do not mention the exquisite ancient city. There is very little information about Jingjue Ancient City, whether it is official or private. It is only clear that Jingjue Ancient City is an ancient country in the western regions. I don't know anything else. And this time, the official archaeological team claimed to have found the exquisite ancient city. However, they were blocked outside by quicksand and a monster, suffering heavy casualties and unable to enter the true essence of the ancient city. However, Zhang Qilin knew that what the official archaeological team found was not actually a truly exquisite ancient city. But it is the Western Night Ancient Kingdom, which is one of the 36 kingdoms of the western regions, along with Lulan and Jingjue. Zhang Qilin only needs to guide the archaeological team in the correct direction, go to a certain place to search for the exquisite ancient city, and you can obtain Qilin blood. You should know that Kirin blood possesses the most powerful power in the tomb raiding world. It is a unique ability of the Kirin clan. Once you have obtained the Qilin bloodline, you can live forever and be immune to all kinds of toxins. Any evil or insect must take a detour. Zhang Qilin, because of Qilin's blood, no insects dare to approach him. Whether it's a zombie or any other monster, they have to kneel down in battle when they see his blood. It can be seen how powerful the Qilin blood is. If double finger exploration is just an appetizer, then Kirin blood is the real feast. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Guiding the Mountains and Rivers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Guiding the Mountains and Rivers. Zhang Qilin went to the computer desk, set up his own computer, then opened a program, quickly entered several pages of code, and then entered. Next, open a certain live streaming platform software. Quickly organize the language and post a barrage. Don't waste any more time. These ruins are not the exquisite ancient city, but the West Night Ancient City. If you want to find the exquisite ancient city, you need to continue heading west. It won't take you a day to find it. Zhang Qilin posted 2 barrage comments. Strangely, these 2 bullet comments were directly topped. This is also why Zhang Qilin needs to use a computer. If it is a regular barrage, it will definitely be instantly submerged by the barrage sea. The archaeological team couldn't even see the barrage he fired. Not to mention pointing them out. So Zhang Qilin modified the program of the live streaming software, made a slight move, and easily put his bullet screen at the top. In this way, the archaeological team can always see their barrage. At the same time, on the archaeological team's side, Professor Chen, the leader of the team, looked at the scorching sun in the sky and the ruins of buildings in the distance. He let out a breath and said, "Comrades, take a break first." They are well prepared this time. The soldiers who protect them also carry sufficient ammunition, especially firearms, with confidence to pass through the dangerous ruins ahead. Find the truly exquisite ancient city. However, now they have also walked a long way and are about to enter the ruins area. Of course, they need to rest well and save their energy. The soldiers are vigilant around. The members of the archaeological team rest in the middle. A student asked Professor Chen, "Professor, can we smoothly pass through the ruins this time?" Many people looked at Professor Chen with concern. Professor Chen solemnly said, "Yes. This time we have found the weakness of that monster, and we can definitely cross the ruins and find the true exquisite ancient city. At that time, we will surely see a once prosperous ancient country in the western regions." After listening to Professor Chen's words, everyone was thrilled and excited. For them, this is a great honor. In today's Xia dynasty, archaeology is of great importance. In order to revive the past history, the authorities are fully committed to developing and supporting the archaeological industry. Almost every citizen takes pride in becoming an archaeologist. Although they all know that archaeologists are very dangerous, they are also determined to become archaeologists without hesitation. And at this moment, a polite young man suddenly said, "Teacher. Someone said online that the site we found is not an exquisite ancient city." As soon as these words were spoken, they immediately caused quite a stir. Everyone was taken aback. Isn't it an exquisite ancient city? What a joke. This was something they had expended a lot of energy and even sacrificed a lot of staff to find. How could it not be an exquisite ancient city? Immediately, other staff members said, "Hee hee. The keyboard warriors nowadays are really interesting. They know to spread rumors online every day. We've been searching for such a long time, how could it not be the exquisite ancient city?" The other staff also nodded. The feeling of being questioned is very uncomfortable. Especially, they have put in so much effort for it. The result was negated in one sentence. Still an unknown keyboardist online. Of course they are angry. Professor Chen also frowned and said, "Xiao Chu, what did he say?" Xiao Chu looked at the live streaming device in his hand and said, "It was a barrage posted by a netizen named 10 Years of Innocence. He said that this site is a place called Jingjue Ancient Kingdom, not the exquisite ancient country we are looking for. If you want to find the Jingjue Ancient Country, you must continue westward, and you will be able to find it in less than a day." After listening to Xiao Chu's words, all the staff present showed disdainful expressions. Someone said, "West Night Ancient Kingdom. I've never heard of it. Is this person here to be funny?" Others all agreed. Professor Chen, on the other hand, was moved and somewhat surprised. Others may not know about the West Night Ancient Kingdom, but as someone who specializes in studying the history of the Western regions, he naturally knows about the West Night Ancient Kingdom. In theory, in today's historical and cultural gap, ordinary people cannot know about the ancient country of Xia. Why does this person called Ultimate know? This makes Professor Chen feel that the other party is a bit complicated. And at this moment, Xiao Chu said again, "Teacher. There's also a strange thing, which is that the 2 bullet comments this person posted are actually at the top. Normally, only we or live streaming platforms can achieve the top function." Others were also stunned when they heard this. Surprisingly, it's a bullet screen at the top. Is there anything else fishy about this? And those water enthusiasts in the live broadcast room naturally saw the 2 bullet comments at the top. All viewers feel that these 2 bullet comments are definitely eye-catching. It's a keyboardist talking nonsense. Who is this person? How much garlic did he eat at noon? His breath is so strong. Exactly. It turns out that the ruins found by Professor Chen and his team are not exquisite ancient cities. Do you know who Professor Chen is? He is one of the top archaeology professors in China and has great reputation internationally. Will he find the wrong place? The keyboard warriors nowadays are really sucking on any kind of traffic. Yeah. Archaeological workers have worked so hard. They were working their lives to retrieve the lost history of Xia country. Can't we respect them? Truly speechless, I don't know what this person thinks. I hope the authorities can investigate it thoroughly. The art style of the bullet screen suddenly changed. Countless people are accusing Zhang Qilin. In their view, the person who sent these 2 bullet comments was trying to catch the attention of the archaeological team. It's just sensationalism. At the same time, Professor Chen said, "Check who this person is, his words need to be taken seriously." Upon hearing Professor Chen's words, everyone was somewhat surprised. Professor Chen surprisingly said that this ultimate statement should be taken seriously. This made them look at each other in confusion. In their view, this is definitely just some keyboard ranger talking nonsense there to gain attention. Even if it is to be topped, it still requires some shady means to be topped. There's no need to pay attention at all. Unexpectedly, as the team leader, Professor Chen said that it is necessary to pay attention to the other party's words. This Xiao Chu was puzzled and said, "Teacher, he may just be a sensationalist netizen. He may be the keyboard warrior commonly referred to by many people, and this may just be a casual remark." However, Professor Chen's tone was somewhat solemn. Not necessarily. Xia Ancient Kingdom was a small country in the ancient western regions, and Xia Kingdom has completely lost information about this small country. I also happened to see it mentioned on a torn parchment roll. Ordinary people would never know, and since this netizen knows about the West Night Ancient Kingdom, it's definitely not easy. Upon hearing Professor Chen's words, everyone's expressions changed. Is there really a place called Xia Ancient Kingdom in history? Did this keyboard warrior really get it right? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Fusion of Kirin blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Fusion of Kirin blood. Xiao Chu and others began to feel somewhat suspicious and uncertain. The previous mocking staff member's face turned red. However, no one focused their attention on him. Everyone is thinking, isn't the ancient city they found really an exquisite ancient country? If that's really the case, wouldn't the previous efforts be in vain? Xiao Chu thought for a moment and quickly found the personal information of 10 years of innocence, but when he opened it, he found it to be a blank slate. Not to mention the information, I don't even have gender. What's going on here? Xiao Chu tried to chat privately again about 10 years of innocence, but couldn't even find the option for private chat. It's like this 10-year innocent account is just a tourist account. But how could tourists possibly send barrage? Xiao Chu understood that the other party must be a computer expert. I changed my program and hid all the information, it's impossible for him to find it. Teacher, his information is hidden and I can't see it. Maybe I can find some clues from the official platform. Xiao Chu said helplessly. Professor Chen thought for a moment and said, notify the Archaeological Institute to keep an eye on this netizen. We don't care about him anymore. For Professor Chen, it is impossible for him to focus his energy on a stranger online friend now. After all, even if the 10-year innocent knows about the ancient kingdom of Xia, it cannot prove anything. It can only be said that the other party has a certain understanding of archaeology or history. Professor Chen cannot investigate the root cause just because of this and cannot find out the other party's household registration. So Professor Chen did not investigate further. Xiao Chu asked again, what should we do now, teacher? Do we still need to go in? Professor Chen said, I definitely have to go inside. No one can be sure if this is an exquisite ancient city. Only by exploring it can we know. After a pause, Professor Chen said again, besides, even if this is the Western Night Ancient Kingdom, it's not a wasted trip. Our mission is to explore history, and this Western Night Ancient Kingdom is also a part of our Xia Kingdom. Everyone nodded repeatedly upon hearing this. Yeah. Even if the 10 years of innocence knew about the ancient kingdom of Xia, what would happen? Do we know the existence of the West Night Ancient Kingdom, so we can determine that this is the West Night Ancient Kingdom? Moreover, taking 10,000 steps back, even if this is not truly an exquisite ancient city, it's not worth a trip, is it? So, the staff of the archaeological team have once again ignited their fighting spirit. They rested again. In the live broadcast room, it caused some waves. The audience all heard Professor Chen's words. Everyone was very surprised. I didn't expect that there really was the ancient kingdom of Xia in history. Moreover, not many people know about it yet. And the person who sent the bullet screen at the top actually knew about the existence of the West Night Ancient Kingdom. It seems that this person is not simple. What he said is not groundless. Many people became curious. Who exactly is this ID named 10 Years of Innocence, and how would they know about the West Night Ancient Kingdom? They wanted to access the homepage information of 10 Years of Innocence, but found it blank, without even the option to send private messages. It can even be said that there are no options. What is the situation? Ghost account. This scene left everyone speechless. Of course. Among many viewers, there are roughly 3 opinions on this matter. One way is to watch a play and not pay much attention. One way is to think that this 10 Years of Innocence may be a powerful figure. Knowing the ancient kingdom of Xia, the barrage he fired may be genuine, so it is important to take it seriously. The last one is to think that 10 Years of Innocence is like a blind cat encountering a dead mouse, or having good luck. It's just that they accidentally heard about the small country of Xia ancient kingdom somewhere. This person is essentially seeking attention from the public and riding on hot topics. No matter what is said on the barrage, it has nothing to do with Zhang Qilin. Zhang Qilin blocked all bullet comments. For him, it's just a matter of a program. All barrage is completely cleared. He likes this refreshing interface. Otherwise, every time I watch a live broadcast, I have to click on the block button, which is very troublesome. Now take one step and permanently clear all barrage. Zhang Qilin watched the live broadcast and naturally heard Professor Chen's decision. Regarding Professor Chen's decision, Zhang Qilin did not have much emotional fluctuation. He, who has been a person of 2 generations, coupled with being both a father and a mother over the years, has raised Qin Yuzhu, and his mental state has been tempered beyond that of his peers. Anyway, after the archaeological team enters the site, they will find that this is indeed not an exquisite ancient city. At that time, they will choose to believe Zhang Qilin's words. As long as the archaeological team does not give up on Jingjue Ancient City, sooner or later they will follow Zhang Qilin's instructions and find Jingjue Ancient City. At that time, Zhang Qilin will also be able to complete the guidance and obtain Qilin blood. Ding! Successfully guided the archaeological team to search for the exquisite ancient city and obtained Kirin blood. However, at this moment, the sound of the system rang in Zhang Qilin's mind. Zhang Qilin raised his eyebrows. Did you receive Kirin blood now? Now Zhang Qilin understands. All you need to do is give guidance. As for whether the archaeological team will listen or not, it is their own matter. As long as you give guidance, you can receive rewards. Subsequently, Zhang Qilin felt his body start to heat up. A mysterious force surged into his body. The whole body's blood seemed to boil. At this moment, Zhang Qilin finally knows what boiling blood means. Physical fitness seems to have become stronger. Zhang Qilin murmured. He clearly felt his body becoming stronger. He used to exercise regularly and maintain good physical fitness. But with the fusion of Kirin blood, he felt his physical fitness skyrocket. The spirit is getting better and better. The muscle lines on the body are becoming more and more beautiful. Even the edges and corners on the face became more distinct. A pair of bright eyes. Zhang Qilin walked up to the mirror and lifted his shirt to take a look at the changes in his body. There is no noticeable change in appearance, and even the appearance remains the same as before. But obviously, it gives the impression that someone has changed. This is Kirin blood. Is this the famous Kirin blood in the tomb raiding world? Zhang Qilin murmured to himself. The changes brought to him by the Qilin blood, in addition to these, were also changes in vision and hearing. Zhang Qilin walked to the window and could see the license plate number downstairs at a glance. You know, he lives on the 7th floor. With a vertical ear, one can also hear the rustling of Qin Yuzhu changing clothes. That's Qin Yuzhu going to change clothes and attend afternoon classes. Zhang Qilin put away his mind and was very satisfied with the changes brought about by the Qilin blood. The only downside is the lack of a Qilin tattoo. It seems that the Qilin tattoo did not appear in conjunction with the Qilin blood. Brother, I'm going to class now. I'll come back tonight to watch a movie with you. The room door opened and Qin Yuzhu's little head poked in. Zhang Qilin nodded and waved her hand to let her go. New book seeking a wave of collection, seeking a wave of addition to the bookshelf, 3 chapters per day, with 5.10 chapters on the shelves exploding. Thank you for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ancient Characters on Monuments. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Ancient Characters on Monuments at the same time. The archaeological team has also rested quite a bit. Under the leadership of Professor Chen, everyone packed their things and continued towards the site they encountered last time. As the archaeological team approaches the site, the popularity of live streaming rooms is also increasing, and the number of people online is also increasing. And those 2 top bullet comments are still hanging. This even alarmed the platform official, wanting to remove the 2 barrage messages. But it was discovered that no matter how hard they tried, they could not achieve it. It's like 2 bullet comments bound to the live broadcast room. This angered a platform executive to curse the programmer in charge of this matter. The programmer is also puzzled, he doesn't even know how the other party did it, and surprisingly made those 2 bullet comments bind to the live broadcast room. To remove the barrage, you have to close the live broadcast room. This is the official archaeological team's live broadcast room. Even if you give them 100 courage, they dare not close it. So, this matter spread within the platform. They all know that this time they encountered a computer expert. And the audience in the live broadcast room is also discussing this, not knowing what the situation is and why the bullet screen is still at the top. As the archaeological team gets closer to the site, the audience also becomes more hopeful. They would like to see if this site is truly the West Night Ancient City. Those archaeologists who share the same ideas as them. Many archaeologists have some disdain for those 2 overhead bullet comments. Although it has been confirmed from Professor Chen that there is indeed the ancient city of Xie in this world. But they still feel that the other party is riding on the heat. So they want to enter Xie Ancient City as soon as possible. Tell everyone on the internet that the clues they have obtained are not wrong, this must be the legendary exquisite ancient city. At this moment, the viewers in the live broadcast room are also discussing. The archaeological team has entered the dangerous area before, I'm not sure if they can pass through smoothly this time, definitely possible. I didn't hear Professor Chen say, are they fully prepared? Yes, I believe Professor Chen and his team can successfully find the Jingjue Ancient City. That kind of monster before was really scary, just thinking about it is outrageous. It is said that the archaeological team has found their weakness. That kind of monster is afraid of fire, so there shouldn't be anything wrong this time. The audience in the live broadcast room couldn't help but worry when they saw that the archaeological team had entered a dangerous area. No one cares whether that site is truly an exquisite ancient city. 10 days ago, the archaeological team started live streaming for the first time, claiming to have found the legendary exquisite ancient city, causing a large number of netizens to watch. Result: as we approached the ancient city ruins, we were surrounded by countless ants and suffered heavy casualties. That kind of ant looks like the legendary desert marching ant, but its size is incredibly large. And it can fly. Once a person touches it, they will immediately catch fire and be burned to ashes. It was precisely because of that attack that the archaeological team sacrificed many people. Many netizens also feel numb when they think of that monster. So, they are also very concerned that the tragedy of that time will reappear. The archaeological team walked cautiously in the desert, and the soldiers took out their firearms and looked around cautiously. Once that terrifying flying ant appears, they will immediately spray fire. Far away, ruins and broken walls can be seen everywhere in the yellow sand. Endless yellow sand buries the former glory. Professor Chen and his companions looked at the distant ruins, feeling excited but hesitant to move forward with caution. Buzz. The next moment. Sure enough, there were no accidents. Yellow sand surges. A large wave of red ants surged out like a fountain. Continuing. 4 or 5 fountains burst out in all directions. Sure enough, that kind of ant has appeared again. In just an instant, countless ants flew out, blocking the sky and sun like red mist, instantly surrounding the members of the archaeological team. The members of the archaeological team were immediately flustered when they saw these ants. The tragic scene of the archaeological team 10 days ago is still vividly remembered. Looking at these terrifying ants in front of them, how could they not panic? Don't panic, everyone get close. Professor Chen shouted and gathered everyone together. And the soldiers holding firearms didn't hesitate to turn on their guns without talking nonsense. Suddenly, more than 10 pillars of fire rose up. For a while, those flying ants were like encountering natural enemies, and countless burnt ant corpses fell down. And the other flying ants also seemed to be frightened, all running up and down, all escaping from here. In the blink of an eye, all the flying ants have escaped. Seeing this scene, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that The preparation of the archaeological team is still useful. The viewers in the live broadcast room also have more confidence in the archaeological team. Haha. These monsters are really afraid of fire. The archaeological team's preparation this time is indeed not wrong. Don't even look at who this is the official archaeological team. It can be said that they are the most powerful group of people in the Archaeological Institute. It seems that the person with the bullet screen at the top is really a clown, questioning the archaeological team. Hee hee. Do you really believe in those 10 years of innocence? They're just trying to attract traffic. I'm too naive. It seems that this is the legendary exquisite ancient city. The archaeological team is great. The audience was full of discussions, and they were all very happy about the soldiers eliminating those flying ants. They also have more confidence in the archaeological team. Xiao Chu excitedly said, "Teacher. These flying ants are indeed afraid of fire. Finally, we can study this ancient city ruins carefully." Professor Chen took a deep breath and was also a bit excited. Yeah. We've been looking for the exquisite ancient city for so many years, and finally it's right in front of us. Let's go. So. The group continued towards the ancient city ruins. Soon. They arrived near the ancient city ruins and faced the ruins. Professor Chen shook his hands and gently swept away the yellow sand on a giant stone, caressing it. This will be a major discovery in our research on the Silk Road. Professor Chen exclaimed excitedly, if we can obtain information about the Silk Road here, it can prove that there was also a trade route in ancient Xia dynasty. Everyone nodded. Since the historical fault, their understanding of the Silk Road has been limited. More importantly, it is learned from a foreign literature that there was a trade route called the Silk Road in ancient Xia dynasty. However, there are very few records of the Silk Road in the remaining historical documents of Xia Kingdom. In order to restore the Silk Road, Professor Chen can be said to have devoted half of his life's energy. And now, we have finally found the exquisite ancient city. And Jingjue Ancient City is an extremely important fortress on the Silk Road. Within the exquisite ancient city, there is absolutely a record of events related to the Silk Road. Teacher. There is a stone tablet here with some words engraved on it. Come and take a look. At this moment, Xiao Chu found a stone tablet nearby. After sweeping the yellow sand on it, he found that there were many words engraved on it, and couldn't help but shout excitedly. From now on, there will be updates around 12, noon, 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. every day. Everyone can join the bookshelf and check it out. It is recommended to vote for monthly tickets. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Is it really an exquisite ancient city? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Is it really an exquisite ancient city? Professor Chen ran over excitedly and quickly took out tools to clean up the mud and sand on top. A broken ancient stone tablet appeared in front of everyone. There are many characters engraved on it. But they can't understand. Only Professor Chen can understand. After he looked through the magnifying glass one by one, his face became somewhat strange. Teacher, what exactly is written on this inscription? Is this the exquisite ancient city? Xiao Chu asked. Professor Chen sighed and said, comrades, maybe. This is really not an exquisite ancient city. What? Isn't it an exquisite ancient city? This everyone in the archaeological team looked at each other in disbelief, dumbfounded. Is this really not an exquisite ancient city? You should know. They spent a lot of manpower and material resources searching for this exquisite ancient city. Even sacrificed many people as a result. As a result, after finally arriving here, Professor Chen surprisingly said it's not an exquisite ancient city. Did the netizen with the ID, 10 years of innocence, get it right? Xiao Chu and others couldn't accept this fact. At this moment, I feel like my mind is blank, and a strong sense of defeat surges into my heart. After working hard for so long, everything is just an illusion. Xiao Chu said, "Teacher, how could this be? All the clues we have received before indicate that this is an exquisite ancient city." Others were also looking forward to Professor Chen. I hope Professor Chen can retract what he just said. And he said he read it wrong. I hope their efforts to withstand temperatures of over 40 degrees Celsius under the scorching sun have not been in vain during this period. However, Professor Chen shook his head and said, "Although I don't know what the words on this inscription mean, I have seen the ancient script of the West Night before. What I can confirm is that the inscription in front of me is indeed the legendary ancient script of the West Night. That is to say, it is very likely that this is truly one of the 36 Western regions' Western Night ancient kingdoms." After listening to Professor Chen's words, everyone took a breath. Sweat welled up on everyone's forehead. In this scorching environment, they feel cold all over, like falling into an ice cave. Is this really the West Night ancient kingdom? Compared to others, Professor Chen is not so discouraged, but rather curious about 10 years of innocence. Who exactly is that 10 years of innocence? Why does he know this is the West Night ancient kingdom? It's unbelievable. At the same time, there has also been a huge uproar in the live broadcast room. The audience turned to the 2 bullet comments that were still at the top. Here surprisingly, it is truly the ancient kingdom of the West Night. The person named 10 years of innocence is actually right. Isn't this an exquisite ancient city? The place that the official archaeological team spent so much effort to find is not an exquisite ancient city. And this mysterious netizen named 10 years of innocence actually saw it at a glance. Too impressive, isn't it? Who is he and why does he know that the West Night ancient kingdom is here? It seems that this mysterious person is very familiar with the culture of the Western regions. Otherwise, even experienced archaeologists would not have heard of the West Night ancient kingdom. And this mysterious person called 10 years of innocence knows. You can tell at a glance. The barrage art style in the live broadcast room has once again changed. Sleeping slot. This is really not an exquisite ancient city. I'll go. Who exactly is the 10-year innocent master? Could he be some great deity from the Archaeological Institute? He can tell at a glance that this is not an exquisite ancient city. That's amazing. If the 10-year innocent god could join the archaeological team, the team would definitely be able to easily find the exquisite ancient city. 10 years of innocence, didn't you say that as long as you continue to walk west, you can find the exquisite ancient city? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have criticized you before. Can a 10-year innocent master appear and say a word? The boss doesn't speak. It feels like he's as mysterious as Zhang Qilin. Don't compare people to Zhang Qilin casually. The tone of the audience in the live broadcast room has all changed one by one. Previously, most people didn't believe in Zhang Lin and thought that the 2 bullet comments he posted were just riding on the heat. Even many people are wildly criticizing Zhang Lin. And now, as the archaeological team entered the ancient city ruins, it was discovered that this site may not be an exquisite ancient city. So, these people's faces immediately changed. One big shot after another, shouting more diligently than anyone else. Many people even want to invite Zhang Lin to appear again in the live broadcast room and say a few words. As a result, even after waiting for a long time in the live broadcast room, there was no barrage of comments from Zhang Lin. What they didn't know was that Zhang Lin had already blocked their barrage. No matter what barrage they fire, Zhang Lin can't see it. Of course. After all, Professor Chen is not very certain now. So some people still hold a wait-and-see attitude, thinking that Zhang Lin may just be a blind cat meeting a dead mouse. Teacher. If it's the ancient kingdom of Xia, shouldn't we just make a trip in vain? Xiao Chu said somewhat helplessly. Professor Chen shook his head slowly and said, not necessarily. The Western Night ancient kingdom is also a manifestation of ancient Chinese culture, and perhaps something can be found here. After a pause, Professor Chen said again, moreover, the netizen named 10 Years of Innocence said that we will be able to find the legendary ancient city in less than a day's journey west. After listening to Professor Chen's words, the members of the archaeological team can only accept this fact. Professor Chen continued to examine the broken stone tablet and said, Xiao Chu, scan the ancient texts on the tablet, upload them to the cloud database, and then contact Professor Sunday. Professor Sun is an expert in ancient Chinese literature. He has studied the ancient texts of the Western Night, and perhaps he can understand them. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chu stopped talking nonsense and quickly took out the scanner to start scanning with another team member. Soon, all the ancient texts on the broken stone tablet have been scanned into the cloud database. And contacted Professor Sun from the Archaeological Institute, asking him to help decipher these ancient texts of the Western Night. Professor Sun readily agreed, stating that there was no problem. Others are looking forward to it. If Professor Sun can decipher these ancient texts, then they can truly determine what exactly is here. So, everyone is silently waiting. But Professor Chen didn't wait and said to Xiao Chu, can you contact that netizen named 10 Years of Innocence? In his opinion, if this is really the West Night Ancient City, the netizen named 10 Years of Innocence is likely to know information and materials about the West Night Ancient City, even possessing the secrets of the exquisite ancient city. After all, the other party accurately identified the locations of Xie Ancient City and Jingjue Ancient City. If we can contact each other, it will definitely be of great help to their archaeological work. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Decoding Ancient Chinese. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Decoding Ancient Chinese. After listening to Professor Chen's words, Xiao Chu put down his work for the time being and couldn't help but shake his head. Teacher, I have already contacted the official side of the platform, and they said they are investigating. He said, according to their tone, this matter should be very complicated, and they are probably powerless. As soon as Xiao Chu's words were spoken, everyone felt a bit inexplicable. A team member asked, Xiao Chu, isn't he just a keyboard warrior? Even the official platform can't find his information. Xiao Chu said, I heard them say it's not that easy, and the entire platform's technical department is powerless to trace the other party's clues. He thought to himself that everyone predicted that this was not the exquisite ancient city, but the West Night Ancient City, and it was called the Keyboard Hero. After listening to Xiao Chu's words, everyone looked at each other. Who exactly is this 10 Years of Innocence? How on earth did he achieve these things? Professor Chen also frowned. He never expected that these two seemingly prank bullet comments would have so many twists and turns. Even the official technical department of the platform cannot find any clues from the other party. It seems that this mysterious person named 10 Years of Innocence is probably really extraordinary. Professor Chen thought for a moment and said, let's first explore the surroundings and see if there are any valuable cultural relics in this site. Let's wait until Professor Sun's deciphering work is completed before discussing anything else. After listening to Professor Chen's words, everyone could only do so. So, the archaeologists officially divided their work and began to inspect the ruins here. Soon, the members of the archaeological team became somewhat disappointed. This is completely a ruin, except for the stone tablet which has some research value. Most of the remaining ruins have been buried in yellow sand. What they can feel is only some ruins and broken walls. There is no information on it, let alone finding cultural relics with research value. To obtain more information or cultural relics, one must extensively mine here. Unfortunately, with their current manpower, they are unable to achieve this. However, I waited for about 10 minutes. Their communication equipment rang, and Professor Sun's phone came. After answering the phone, Xiao Chu spoke to Professor Sun and confirmed that he had deciphered all the words on the stone tablet. Quickly, Professor Sun sent over the text he had deciphered. After seeing the information clearly, Professor Chen and others couldn't help but be stunned and shocked in their hearts. This is indeed the ancient city of Xie. From the text deciphered by Professor Sun, it can be seen that although there is not much information revealed on the stone tablet, it also indicates that this is indeed the ancient city of Xie. The information displayed on the stone tablet is mainly an introduction to some basic aspects of Xie ancient city. For example, the number of households within contemporary kings. Anyway, at least it can be proven that this is the true West Night ancient city. It seems that both of those bullet comments are true. Do we need to follow the instructions from the barrage to search for the exquisite ancient city now? Xiao Chu came to his senses from shock and said with some hesitation. Everyone looked at Professor Chen. Professor Chen is their leader, and of course, all actions must be subject to him. Professor Chen stood in place and thought for a moment before gesturing to Xiao Chu. Later, Professor Chen whispered something to Xiao Chu, and he nodded. Xiao Chu looked at the live broadcast camera with a hint of politeness on his face and said, "Dear Mr. 10 Years of Innocence, I don't know if you have watched the live broadcast now. First of all, I apologize to you. We should not question what you said. Thank you for reminding us. However, we misunderstood you. It was our fault, please understand." Xiao Chu's tone was sincere, and his words came from the bottom of his heart. Everyone's heart was shaken when they heard it. Especially the members of the archaeological team, everyone was stunned. They never expected that Xiao Chu would face the camera and apologize to the netizen named 10 Years of Innocence in front of the entire network. Professor Chen, how much do we value each other? They could see that it was Professor Chen who asked Xiao Chu to say so. Professor Chen, after all, is the leader of the archaeological team and also a member of the Archaeological Institute, so he still needs to be reserved. Therefore, his student Xiao Chu came forward to say these words. Now it can be basically confirmed that Xiao Chu's words are Professor Chen's words. Then, Xiao Chu said again, "Here, I earnestly request that you can open a golden mouth again, guide us in the maze, and tell us some information or materials about this ancient city of Xie." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone suddenly realized. Originally, Xiao Chu wanted to ask Zhang Qilin for guidance again, which is why he was so polite and lowered his figure. You should know that Xiao Chu is a member of the Archaeological Institute. In this world where archaeology is important, everyone in the institute holds a noble position. Every word he says now represents Professor Chen. And now, he turned to an unknown person for advice. If I hadn't seen this with my own eyes, I'm afraid few people would have believed it. The audience in the live broadcast room were also amazed. They all understood what Xiao Chu meant by saying these words, which represented Professor Chen. However, the more so, the more they can feel the sacrifices made by Professor Chen and Xiao Chu in order to learn more about the culture of the Western regions and promote the national archaeological cause. Always be the first to rush to the front line, not to mention. Now, in order to obtain information about the ancient kingdom of Xie, we are also willing to pay homage to virtuous soldiers. This attitude deserves everyone's respect. I'll go. 10 Years of Innocence is too prestigious. The people from the Archaeological Institute will personally come and apologize. This is the first time it has appeared in China. Please display the layout on the public screen. By the way, is it necessary for Professor Chen? They have already found the ancient city of Xie. With their abilities, can't they still uncover the secret of Xie? What do you know? Since the 10-year innocent master can easily reveal the locations of the two ancient cities, he must know the secrets of the two ancient cities. If he can get along well with him, it will be of great help to the archaeological mission of the archaeological team. Xiao Chu is also capable of extension and submission, and it is not easy to achieve this step for the development of archaeology. I really want to know who this mysterious person named 10 Years of Innocence is now. Netizens were discussing and were shocked by Professor Chen's actions. Many people are calling on Zhang Qilin to come out quickly and guide the archaeological team. However, Zhang Qilin seemed to have no intention of appearing again. Zhang Qilin at this moment. Of course, I also watched the live broadcast and heard Xiao Chu's heartfelt words. Zhang Qilin also admires Xiao Chu's behavior. A very pure archaeologist. Zhang Qilin is not a stingy person either. He is prepared to tell them about the West Night Ancient Kingdom. However, at this moment, the sound of the system rang out. Ding! Guide the archaeological team to gather relevant information on the ancient country of Xia and reward them with the dragon hunting technique. Hearing this sound surprised Zhang Qilin a bit. I didn't expect this to trigger system tasks. The dragon hunting technique is the key skill of the Golden Captain, quite impressive. New books for collection, recommended tickets and monthly tickets. Thank you for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Further guidance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Further guidance. However, Zhang Qilin made a mistake by looking at the prompt in front of him. The dragon hunting technique is indeed a good thing. For Zhang Lin's later burial, it would be of great help. Fenjin Dingxue can help him easily find various ancient tombs. But the problem is, he only knows that the ruins in front of him are the ancient city of Xia. As for what kind of country the West Night Ancient Kingdom is, or whether there are any other ruins of the West Night Ancient Kingdom nearby, he is not quite sure. In his past life, he could also use Baidu. Here. There is absolutely no information about the ancient kingdom of Xia in this world. Otherwise, the archaeological team wouldn't have treated the wise and virtuous soldiers like this. Just as Zhang Qilin was trying to recall some information about the West Night Ancient Kingdom from his previous life, the system prompt in front of him once again changed. Xia Ancient Kingdom is one of the 30.6 states in the western regions, belonging to the Di and Chang ethnic groups. Its monarch is a woman, with a total of 10 generations of monarchs. It is a typical constitutional monarchy, where the monarch holds all the power and is an important part of the ancient Silk Road. Later, influenced by Han culture, it was the most similar western regions country to the Central Plains among the 30.6 states in the western regions, and died in war. A mile further ahead of the ruins, you can see the tomb of the Queen of the West Night. It is very dangerous. There are marching ants and zongzi. You are not allowed to enter without permission. Seeing these two pieces of information, Zhang Qilin was also slightly surprised. I didn't expect the system to come with this feature. It is truly a divine guidance system. Complete construction and complete program. Zhang Qilin instinctively used the programmer's thinking to consider this divine-level guidance system. He withdrew his thoughts. Quickly copy these few sentences and send them to the barrage. 2 bullet comments were once again brought to the top. A brief description of the general situation of Xia Ancient Kingdom. One of them informed Professor Chen of the location of the tomb of the Queen of the West Night. Ding! Successfully guided the archaeological team and obtained the dragon hunting technique. The dragon hunting technique is merging. Fusion successful. As the system prompts, the sound will sound. Zhang Lin's head slightly swelled. A large amount of feng shui knowledge flooded into my mind and instantly integrated. After a moment, he felt like the whole world was different. My thoughts have become much more accessible. My horizons have also broadened. Things that I couldn't understand before are now easy to understand. The dragon hunting technique is one of the key skills of the Jingjue, which covers a wide range and is astonishing. Up to the laws of the universe's constellations, down to the direction of mountains, rivers, and other animals. When every Jin Xiaowei is learning the dragon hunting technique, it takes a lot of time, ranging from 10 years to 20 or 30 years to be able to get started. After integrating the dragon hunting technique, Zhang Qilin has already reached the master level. Complete integration and mastery of the dragon hunting technique have reached the pinnacle. Therefore, his vision and insight naturally changed accordingly. If Qin Yuzhu is here at this time, you can tell. Zhang Lin's gaze has clearly become more wise and profound compared to before. A pair of eyes are like deep pools and old wells. Zhang Lin looked back at the live broadcast footage and saw the layered sand dunes, feeling different. It seems like there is a slow airflow flowing everywhere. That is, ordinary people cannot discover feng shui. The dragon hunting technique is indeed incredibly divine. This is just the dragon hunting technique. If we could obtain the 16-character yin-yang feng shui secret technique, wouldn't it be even more powerful? Zhang Lin is not in a hurry. As long as he continues to watch the live broadcast, there will be many opportunities in the future. At this moment, as Zhang Lin emitted those two overhead bullet comments, the entire live broadcast room became a bit excited. After the archaeological team saluted the virtuous soldiers, the audience in the live broadcast room had been waiting for Zhang Lin to appear. They just waited for several minutes, but didn't see Zhang Lin firing any barrage. They were all a bit disappointed. Some people even believe that Zhang Lin actually doesn't know much about the West Night Ancient City, and before that, it was just a blind cat hitting a dead mouse. Faced with Xiao Chu's advice now, I dare not speak up at all. Result: Zhang Lin's two bullet comments hit them hard in the face. It also excites those who have been waiting for Zhang Lin to appear again. I'll go. This decade of innocence has really appeared. So this is the ancient kingdom of the West Night, isn't that right? This guy just knows about the West Night ancient kingdom, and he still knows where the tomb of the West Night Queen is. It's really fake. How do I feel so mysterious? I feel like he made it up. Unless he has been to that place, how could he possibly know about the ancient tomb of the Queen of the West Night? The audience in the live broadcast room were discussing extensively. I feel that Zhang Lin's last barrage is completely fabricated. After all, just relying on some live broadcasts can tell that 1 kilometer ahead is the ancient tomb of the Queen of the West Night. How could this be possible? And at this moment, after waiting for a few minutes, Professor Chen did not receive a response from Zhang Lin, which made him somewhat disappointed. Is it that person named 10 Years of Innocence has not watched the live broadcast anymore? If that's the case, it would be a bit troublesome to contact him. However, at this moment, Xiao Chu suddenly shouted, "Teacher! 10 Years of Innocence has responded to you." Upon hearing these words, Professor Chen couldn't help but be overjoyed and quickly said, "Really? What did he say?" Xiao Chu quickly recited the barrage sent by Zhang Lin. After listening, Professor Chen's breathing trembled a bit. He didn't dare to take too much breath. It was all hot air here, and breathing too fast wouldn't be a good thing. Professor Chen exclaimed, "This decade of innocence has indeed been a remarkable experience. According to the information I have obtained, the Western Night Ancient Kingdom was mainly inhabited by the Di and Chang ethnic groups. As for the rest, I don't know. I didn't expect him to know so much." Xiao Chu and other members of the archaeological team were also pleasantly surprised upon hearing this. So, we can add another touch to the Western region's culture they are studying. Xiao Chu couldn't help but say, "Who has been innocent for these 10 years? Who knows so much?" "Teacher, is the second sentence he said true? Is there really the tomb of the Queen of the West Night ahead?" All the archaeologists were full of energy when they heard this. Previously, the frustration of not being an exquisite ancient city was swept away. Although the exquisite ancient city has not been found yet, finding the tomb of Queen West Night would be of great help to their archaeological career. Xie Ancient Kingdom is a country that does not exist in history. If its existence can be determined and its history excavated, then these people must leave a lasting impression in the archaeological community. In the future, when we talk about the ancient kingdom of Xie, we will mention them. They all looked at Professor Chen. After a moment of hesitation, Professor Chen said, "Anyway, let's all go and take a look." What if he's right? This statement has received everyone's approval. Then Professor Chen asked Xiao Chu to say some thanks to Zhang Lin towards the camera, and led the archaeological team towards the depths of the ruins. Seeking collection, seeking recommended tickets and monthly tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Qin Yuzhu's Doubts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Qin Yuzhu's Doubts Jingjue. Capital Archaeological University. This university is the only one in the country specifically built for archaeology. All the majors inside are related to archaeology. Every major is among the top in the country. Only this university's archaeology major directly benchmarks against the Archaeological Institute. After graduation, every student has the opportunity to join the most authoritative archaeological institution in the country, the Archaeological Institute. This is the ultimate dream of countless archaeologists. Even in this country, where national archaeology is encouraged, every Xia person is paying attention to the era of archaeology. Archaeological institutes are the most sacred existence in the hearts of everyone in the country. Once you join the Archaeological Institute, whether it's salary or social status, you need to be superior. That's like Zhang Qilin's previous life in Qinbei. Getting into such a university is truly honorable for ordinary people. At this moment, in a studio at Capital Archaeological University, Qin Yuzhu and another girl are holding a tablet and watching the live broadcast. This girl is cute and clever, with a baby face full of collagen and skin that can be easily damaged by blowing. The girl's name is Yi. He is Qin Yuzhu's classmate and best friend. Both of them are top students in their class, always ranking among the top in terms of academic performance. Coupled with their extremely passionate interest in archaeology, they were already admitted to the studio of renowned Professor Sun Daxing in their junior year. Become a member of this studio. The main job of this studio is to assist the Archaeological Institute in deciphering some ancient texts. So I often come into contact with people from the Archaeological Institute. There is a saying circulating in the Archaeological University that once one enters a few studios, it is equivalent to half stepping into the Archaeological Institute. And Sun Daxing's studio is one of them. It is sufficient to demonstrate that Qin Yuzhu and Yi have outstanding abilities in deciphering ancient texts. I didn't expect that the task of remotely assisting Professor Chen and his team would be divided between us. Yuzhu, we are really lucky. Yi said excitedly. The studio is divided into different groups, almost all in pairs. Not long ago, the two of them received a notice from Professor Sun that the deciphering work of the Western Knight Ancient Prose would be entrusted to them. Every job here is not just that simple. Completing each job can earn additional credits. It will be of great help for them to graduate and enter the Archaeological Institute in the future. And they both know very well. Once they complete the deciphering work, their group will be tied to Professor Chen's archaeological team in the future. They will be responsible for deciphering ancient Chinese characters in the future. Unless they are unable to complete it, their teacher Sun Daxing is needed to assist. It is precisely because of this extremely independent teaching method that the entire Capital Archaeological University has produced a large number of talents, continuously delivering excellent talents to the institute. This is also why Yi is so excited. Qin Yuzhu's pretty face turned slightly red as she said, "We are indeed quite lucky, but I don't know if Professor Chen and his team can find the ancient tomb of Queen Xia." Yi Yadeo said, "Definitely. That decade of innocence shouldn't have fooled Professor Chen and his team." Qin Yuzhu nodded and said, "I think so too." Yi said with a look of admiration, "Yuzhu, what kind of person do you think those 10 years of innocence are? They seem very powerful, and they know so much about the West Knight Ancient Kingdom. He must be a handsome little brother." Qin Yuzhu looked at Yi with a seductive expression on her face and couldn't help but say, "I said Yi, you haven't even seen her before. Why are you such a seductive person? What if someone else is an ugly man? Or an old man?" Yi Yadeo said, "You don't understand. My intuition tells me that the other party must be very handsome. He is a talented and beautiful little brother. I hope the archaeological team can investigate the information of 10 years of innocence as soon as possible. Qin Yuzhu couldn't help but shake his head. She can't stand Yi's flower-obsessed personality. Every time she feels embarrassed. Thinking of the scene where Yi couldn't move her eyes when she took her home last time, Qin Yuzhu had a feeling of being unable to laugh or cry. This girl is good everywhere, just too promiscuous. However, Qin Yuzhu is also very curious and wants to know who the 10 years of innocence really is. Qin Yuzhu said, based on the feedback from the archaeological team and live streaming platforms, this 10-year innocent should be a computer expert who used a Trojan horse to modify the program in the live streaming room in order to keep his barrage at the top. Yi nodded like pounding garlic and said, right. You must be a computer expert. A handsome computer expert like Yi Xiu. Qin Yuzhu said, Yi Xiu is not a computer expert, he is an esports expert. Yi Xiu is the protagonist of an online novel and also very popular. Yi said, it's all the same. After a pause, she seemed to have thought of something and quickly said, speaking of Yuzhu, isn't your handsome brother also a computer expert? Why don't you ask him for help? Can you find out who 10 years of innocence is? Qin Yuzhu reacted. Yes, my brother is a computer expert. At the age of 10, relying on his excellent computer skills, he raised himself to such a big age. Maybe my brother can really find the other party. Qin Yuzhu has great confidence in Zhang Qilin's computer technology. In her opinion, Zhang Qilin's computer technology is unique in this world. Even many times, she is curious about where Zhang Qilin learned his computer skills. Qin Yuzhu said, okay, I'll tell him when I go back tonight. Yi quickly said, don't, just ask him now. Qin Yuzhu felt a little helpless and said, I said Yi, how do you think that 10 years of innocence is a handsome guy? Yi blinked her big eyes and said, isn't that what's said in novels? Qin Yuzhu was once again defeated by Yi. But I don't know if my brother had lunch at this time. That stinky guy always doesn't eat on time when he's not around. Thinking of this, Qin Yuzhu felt it necessary to call and ask. Quickly, the phone was connected. Zhang Qilin's voice rang on the other end of the phone. Hello, Yuzhu. Zhang Qilin's voice is very soft and light. It makes people listen very comfortably. Especially for girls. Every time Qin Yuzhu heard his brother's voice, he felt an inexplicable sense of relief. She said, brother, have you eaten yet? Why don't you talk about something? Zhang Qilin shifts the topic. Qin Yuzhu whispered to herself, sure enough, you should go eat quickly, otherwise I won't say it. Zhang Qilin said helplessly, okay, I'll go now. You tell me what's going on. Upon hearing the rustling sound, Qin Yuzhu snorted and said, it's like this. You should have watched Professor Chen's live broadcast, right? I want you to help me investigate who that 10-year innocent was. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. True Ancient Tombs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. True Ancient Tombs, 10 Years of Innocence. Upon hearing these words, Zhang Qilin instinctively paused for a moment. Qin Yuzhu said, yes, 10 years of innocence. It's the person who guided Professor Chen and his team in the live broadcast room. He's really impressive, and he seems to have a deep understanding of Western region's culture. The Archaeological Institute is currently searching for him. It's said that once they find him, they will invite him to join the institute. Zhang Qilin remained calm and didn't respond for a moment. And Qin Yuzhu continued, brother, that's an archaeological institute. How many people are pushing their heads to get in there? He can easily get in there, that's amazing. Listening to Qin Yuzhu's words, Zhang Qilin's face showed a strange expression. But he didn't tell her the truth about the matter. Just nodding, indicating that you can help her check, but whether you can find it depends on luck. Qin Yuzhu said, I believe in you, brother. You can definitely do it. Then Qin Yuzhu urged Zhang Qilin to hurry to have lunch, and only after Zhang Qilin responded did he hang up the phone. Yuzhu, I really envy you for having such a good-looking brother. Although you can't do that, it's good to keep it at home to keep an eye out for you. Yi smiled and said. Qin Yuzhu blushed and complained, oh my. What are you talking nonsense about, you dead girl? As she spoke, she was about to pinch Yi's tender flesh. Yi also quickly dodged. Two girls were playing and frolicking in the studio, causing members of the other group to frequently come over. All right. I admit defeat. Yi pleaded loudly for mercy, then pointed to the tablet and said, look, Professor Chen and his team have arrived at their destination. This really worked. Qin Yuzhu just stopped and looked at the live broadcast room. In the live broadcast footage, Professor Chen and Xiao Chu braved the scorching sun and finally arrived at the tomb of the Queen of the Western Night, as Zhang Qilin mentioned. Looking at the ruins in the distance, the hot wind blew by, dust and sand drifted away, and some ancient totems appeared faintly, seemingly telling the story of their past glory. Is there really a building here? Is it really the tomb of the Queen of the West Night? Professor Chen looked at the ruins in front of him and couldn't help but feel a little excited. Not finding the exquisite ancient city, but also finding the tomb of the Queen of the West Night is quite a good harvest. As long as they can pry into the secrets of the West Night ancient kingdom and obtain some literature from the ancient tomb, then this trip will be worthwhile for them. Xiao Chu said, Teacher, let's go take a look. We will definitely discover something. Professor Chen nodded, but still warned. Everyone must be careful. That innocent man said that the tomb of the Queen of the West Night is very dangerous, with new army ants and zongzi. Marching ants and zongzi know what they are. Desert marching ants are a very terrifying social creature. Although not as good as the strange flying ants they killed with fire extinguishers on the periphery just now, they should not be underestimated. Zongzi's words often appear in tomb-robbing novels. Simply put, it is what people often refer to as a zombie. Zongzi is a kind of thing that turns people pale when talking about it. It's best not to touch it unless you can. Otherwise, there will inevitably be heavy losses. So, Professor Chen and others arrived at the ruins with a vigilant attitude and began to explore the ruins. As for those soldiers, they are vigilant and look around. Once there is a danger approaching, they will also remind Professor Chen and them as soon as possible. In the blink of an eye, they had explored the entire ruins of the building. But no so-called ancient tomb was found. Those dilapidated buildings only have some mysterious totems and ancient characters from the West Night. As for the others, they couldn't find them. After scanning those observations into the cloud database, Xiao Chu and his team stopped their work. Professor Chen, could it be that 10 years of innocence fooling us? There aren't actually any ancient tombs here. A middle-aged bald man wearing glasses and looking very rigid asked with a questioning voice. He is the deputy leader of the team, as well as an archaeologist and a rather stubborn Professor Hao. Professor Chen frowned and shook his head, saying, I believe there are no such coincidences in this world. That innocent gentleman won't deceive us. Xiao Chu nodded and said, I also believe in 10 years of innocence. This made Professor Hao frown and feel a bit uncomfortable. However, Professor Chen said, don't worry for now. Everyone has been tired after walking for so long. Let's take a break here and wait for information from Professor Sun's side. Just now they scanned a lot of ancient characters from the Western Night. I have already passed it on to Professor Sun, and I believe there will be news soon. Sure enough. After only waiting for 5 or 6 minutes, someone called from their communication device. Hello, is this the Jingjue Archaeological team? I am from the Daxing Ancient Script Interpretation Center. My name is Qin Yuzhu and I am Professor Sun's student. This time, Yi and I will help you decipher the ancient script of the Western Night. Qin Yuzhu's voice rang on the other end of the phone. After listening, Professor Chen nodded and said, "Thank you, comrades." Qin Yuzhu said, "Professor Chen, we have deciphered the ancient texts you just transmitted." After listening to Qin Yuzhu's words, Professor Chen couldn't help but be somewhat surprised. He said, "So fast. The two comrades are really amazing." Qin Yuzhu said, "Professor Chen has praised me." Then Qin Yuzhu said, "Based on the information provided in ancient texts, we can confirm that this is indeed the tomb of the Queen of the West Night, and the location of the tomb is right below. We hope it will be helpful to you." After listening to Qin Yuzhu's words, everyone couldn't help but be taken aback. This is really the tomb of Queen West Night. They actually found the tomb of Queen West Night. That 10 years of innocence statement is not at all wrong. Professor Chen sincerely said, "Thank you very much for your help. Your information is very important to us." Both sides exchanged pleasantries, and Professor Chen hung up the phone. Now, Xiao Chu and others became excited. The words, 10 years of innocence, are all correct. The tomb of Queen West Night is really here. Xiao Chu excitedly said, "Teacher, the ancient tomb of the Queen of Western Night is really here." Professor Chen nodded and said, "Yes. Everyone, hurry up and look for the entrance." Upon receiving this sentence, everyone else was excited and quickly searched around. Professor Hao, on the other hand, said with some concern, "Professor Chen, since what was said about the 10 years of innocence is true, then perhaps this ancient tomb is really dangerous. Let's be careful." Professor Chen nodded and said, "Patriotic, don't worry. Let's temporarily find the entrance to the ancient tomb and decide whether or not to enter. We will discuss it later." Not long after, an archaeologist shouted, "Professor Chen, come and take a look. There is a loose stone slab here, which may be the entrance." End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Ignoring persuasion and causing heavy death and injury. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Ignoring persuasion and causing heavy death and injury. This voice attracted everyone. The entire archaeological team ran to the vicinity of that person. Sure enough, I saw a loose slate there, unlike other places where each slate was tightly fitted and tightly fastened to the ground. This should be the entrance to the ancient tomb. Great. Quickly pry it open. Professor Chen said with some excitement. Xiao Chu and a few young people immediately took out their tools and began to pry at the slate. Be careful not to damage the cultural relics. Professor Chen cautioned. Don't worry, teacher, Xiao Chu said as he exerted force soon. The stone slab weighing over a few hundred pounds was slowly pried open by them. A wave of decay, a breath from ancient times rushed towards us. There is indeed a dark entrance below. Seeing this scene, everyone was filled with joy and excitement. Teacher! There really is an entrance! Xiao Chu exclaimed excitedly. Professor Chen took a few steps forward and shone a flashlight inside. The following is indeed a passage. Inside it is pitch black, with yellow sand all around the entrance. It's not very clear what's going on inside. But from a structural perspective, it is undoubtedly a tomb passage. From a structural perspective, this is indeed a tomb passage. Looking at the magnificent murals carved on the stone walls next to it, it is full of Western region style. Most likely, it is the tomb of the Queen of the West Night. Professor Chen said with some excitement. Archaeological workers such as Xiao Chu were all extremely excited. Although we haven't found the exquisite ancient city yet, we have found the tomb of the Queen of the West Night. It can also be considered an unexpected joy. The audience in the live broadcast room were also shocked at the moment. I'll go. There's really an ancient tomb, it could be the tomb of the Queen of the West Night. Bull. The 10-year innocent master really criticizes me. He has been to this Western Night ancient kingdom site, hasn't he? These 10 years of innocent masters are not tomb raiders, are they? This is really a punishment. If he were really a tomb robber and went in because of it, that would be the point. If this is really the tomb of the Queen of the West Night, then this big shot is really amazing. How did he actually do it? It's amazing, isn't it? The audience was discussing and shocked by the scene before them. Previously, some people questioned Zhang Qilin. Now those who question Zhang Qilin are all gone. Leaving aside the rest, these two waves of prophecy are enough to explain everything. The first prophecy was that the ruins were not the exquisite ancient city, but the ancient country of Xia. For the second time, the location of the tomb of the Queen of the West Night was identified. All of this indicates Zhang Qilin's strength. No one dares to question Zhang Qilin anymore. The barrage in the live broadcast room is almost entirely praising Zhang Qilin. However, no matter how much they praise Zhang Qilin, he never responds. Because Zhang Qilin had already used a program to block all bullet comments. He couldn't see all the bullet comments. Oh, Professor Chen's archaeological team's ancient Chinese character decipher turned out to be the girl Yuzhu and E. I didn't expect they had something. Zhang Qilin couldn't help but say in surprise. When Qin Yuzhu and Professor Chen were on a conversation just now, because the communication equipment needed to meet the requirements of having signals in the desert in various conditions, everything was relatively rudimentary, and each call was in a state of amplification. Of course, Zhang Qilin also heard the conversation between Qin Yuzhu and Professor Chen. Zhang Qilin also knows that Qin Yuzhu's grades are very good. But I don't know if it has reached this level, which can assist the archaeological team in deciphering ancient texts, and the decoding speed is not slow yet. This capital archaeological university is really impressive. Zhang Qilin murmured and continued to watch the live broadcast. He did not speak out again to remind Professor Chen and them. After all, he had already warned before. If Professor Chen and his team don't listen to advice, Zhang Qilin can't do anything about it. After all, if they decide to go to the grave, even if Zhang Qilin reminds them 10,000 times, it won't work. Say it again. This is Professor Chen and his team's job. Zhang Qilin can't stop them from going to the grave. He doesn't have that idle time. Teacher, what should we do now? Do we need to go to the grave? Xiao Chu looked at the tomb passage and couldn't help but ask. Professor Chen also encountered difficulties for a while. Zhang Qilin reminded them not to go down easily, as it is very dangerous below. However, now the tomb of the Queen of the Western regions is in front of them, which may be an important opportunity for them to understand the culture of the Western regions, the ancient country of the Western regions, and the entire Silk Road. Give up now, there won't be this opportunity in the future. This has made Professor Chen somewhat conflicted. Later, Professor Chen looked at Professor Hao and said, "Patriotic, what do you think?" Professor Hao hesitated for a moment. He was also a determined archaeologist, and he had previously said that it was dangerous inside. It was best not to go down easily. But now he couldn't help but see the entrance to the ancient tomb right in front of him. I think we don't know what the situation is yet. We can send some people in to investigate and clarify the situation before we can proceed. Professor Hao said. Professor Chen nodded and said, "Okay. That's the decision. I'll take a few people down and you guys stay outside, waiting for us to come out." Other archaeologists have expressed their intention to follow Professor Chen down. But in the end, Professor Chen only brought Professor Hao and several other archaeological workers down together. Even Professor Hao strongly demanded that he must go down before Professor Chen was willing to take him down. Otherwise, he doesn't want Professor Hao to go on an adventure with him. In the end, they added 2/3 of the Special Forces soldiers to form a team of 10. Teacher, you must be careful. If there is any danger, come back quickly. Xiao Chu said with concern. Professor Chen nodded and then entered the tomb passage first. The others also quickly followed in. In the blink of an eye, a team of 10 people entered the tomb. As for the live streaming equipment, it naturally did not follow suit. They used extremely advanced drone tracking equipment for this live broadcast. This type of drone is expensive and can automatically lock onto a target for tracking. In the following situation, it is not suitable for drones to enter due to the narrow tomb passage. Let's wait for Professor Chen and his team to come back before we talk. So, everyone was anxiously waiting. It's impossible to say you're not nervous or nervous. After all, both of Zhang Qilin's previous predictions were already correct. He said that the tomb was very dangerous, even Zhongzi. They are naturally also worried. Not to mention the others, if you really meet Zhongzi, I'm afraid you will suffer heavy casualties. That's it. I spent more than 20 minutes waiting. Finally, there's some movement below. Soon. Professor Chen's frightened voice came. Prepare to seal the cave entrance. Hurry. We must hurry. For changes, seeking collection, seeking recommendation tickets, seeking monthly tickets and rewards. End of this chapter.